At the Netroots Nation conference in New Orleans, Cory Booker, the corporate hooker, posed for a photo while holding a sign that states, "From Palestine to Mexico, all the walls have got to go." Now, that sign is perhaps the least controversial thing ever for a so-called liberal politician to do, but nonetheless, he was still criticized for it. There were individuals on the right who said that him holding up the sign was anti-Semitic, because, of course, any criticism of Israel, any advocacy for Palestinian human rights, it's all anti-Semitic if you're a right-winger or even a left-winger in some instances. But he was attacked for it. And what did he do? Did he hold strong? Did he say, no, I'm going to stand up for Palestinian human rights. I don't care what you say because it's the right thing to do, and I'm going to have the courage to speak out on their behalf since they don't have a voice. Well, of course he didn't say that. He backed away from this sign, and his staff actually issued a statement almost immediately once the image surfaced online. And as Zaid Jilani of The Intercept reports, it seemed as though Booker's choice to enthusiastically pose with the pro-Palestine sign might be part and parcel of his move to the left, but within hours, his campaign disavowed the whole thing. His spokesperson, Jeff Geertz, told the Jewish Telegraphic Agency that Booker was simply snapping photos with fans and that he had no idea what the sign actually read. Just before delivering a speech in New Orleans, Senator Booker was approached by dozens of people for photos, Geertz told JTA. In one instance, amid the rush, he was posing for a photo and was passed the sign to hold. He didn't have time to read the sign, and from his cursory glance, he thought it was talking about Mexico and didn't realize it had anything to do with Israel. Geertz went on to defend the wall in question, the separation barrier Israel has erected in the West Bank. Booker hopes for a day when there will be no need for security barriers in the state of Israel, but while active terrorist organizations threaten the safety of the people living in Israel, security borders are unfortunate but necessary to protect human lives, he said. Geertz's statement echoes the pro-wall rationale used by the Israeli government, but that reasoning ignores the fact that the barrier extends far into Palestinian territory, providing Israel an opportunity to continue to expand settlements. The international human rights community's position on the wall reflects leftist critiques that are rooted in an objection to Israel's choice to build on Palestinian land and displace Palestinian people, not an objection to Israel protecting itself. Even former President George W. Bush, no left-winger, was initially quite critical of the barrier. It is very difficult to develop confidence between the Palestinians and Israel with the wall snaking through the West Bank, he said. Later, he backed down on his criticism when the Israeli government pressed forward. Booker's disavowal then stung to those on the left who saw the photograph as evidence of progress, even while it assured those whose politics more closely aligns with the state of Israel. It was especially frustrating given how unlikely the excuse seemed in light of the context of the event. So, do I buy his excuse that he didn't read the sign and he just kind of had this cursory glance and thought it was about the wall on our southern border? No, I don't. Because for someone as focus group driven as Cory Booker, he's not just going to willy-nilly hold up any sign that someone gives him. He's going to read it thoroughly before he holds it up, because as he'd know, he could be inadvertently endorsing something that he disagrees with, so he probably read the sign and seeing that it wasn't controversial, because it's not. He held it up, and once he got criticism, then he decided to backtrack. But it really shows that he has no spine whatsoever. What a coward this guy is. In speaking out against a wall built in Palestinian territory, that takes zero courage whatsoever. You're not brave to denounce it. It's just common sense. The UN Security Council has said that Israel's ongoing occupation of Palestine constitutes a flagrant violation of international law. That's the language that they used. But yet, he can't even condemn something that's common sense that everyone else in the world sees. What a coward this guy is. He has no political courage whatsoever. In fact, I want to read to you what the UN Security Council said about Israel's occupation of Palestine. In its resolution 2334 from 2016, the Security Council reaffirmed that the establishment by Israel of settlements in the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, had no legal validity and constituted a flagrant violation under international law and a major obstacle to the achievement of the two-state solution and a just, lasting, and comprehensive peace. This isn't controversial, Cory. The fact that you are unwilling to even speak out in favor of Palestinian human rights on the most basic level, on the most common sense level, it shows that you are nothing more than a coward and you have no spine and you lack the courage needed to be president. We all know that he wants to run in 2020 and he's doing everything in his power to not offend anyone, right? He's trying to appease progressives and also his corporate donors. And what he did to kind of give progressives the nod who care about Palestinian human rights with regard to AIPAC is the article from The Intercept, it talks about how he chose not to attend some type of AIPAC event or speak there. But the article also states that afterwards, representatives from AIPAC actually spoke with him privately in his office, which may be worse because if you're not at this public event, then we can't tell what you're saying. But, behind closed doors, you could be promising them everything. You could be promising to never speak out in favor of Palestinian human rights again, and we wouldn't know about it. So it's actually probably better for him to attend this forum at AIPAC and make a public speech so we can at least know what he's saying, so it's on the record. But this guy is a coward. But to anyone who's been following Cory Booker, this isn't surprising at all. It's just really embarrassing that someone who's supposed to be part of a party that supposedly represents human rights, that he can't even hold up a sign that advocates for Palestinian human rights in the most minimal sense ever. I mean, it's not a controversial sign, but if you're Cory Booker, you got to run away from that as well because, God forbid you actually take a stand on anything.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.